Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. Now basically today I'm going to tell you that how you can write out a program for the daemon threads, and other than that how you can access the daemon threads in three ways. Okay, I will be telling you about the multiple ways with which you can access out these daemon threads, right? This is all what I am going to do today. Let's pick it up here, but before moving and writing out the program, let me just quickly give you an overview regarding the daemon threads, that what are actually daemon threads. So we had already seen this thing in one of the previous videos, that what do we mean by daemon threads. Let me read out the definition for you, that the threads which are always going to running in the background that provides support to main or non-daemon threads, those background executing threads are considered as daemon threads. See, there are many threads which always run in the background. But why they actually run in the background? So as to provide some support to the main threads or the non-daemon threads. Right, so the basically the threads which are always going to run in the background to provide some support. Okay, those background executing threads are actually known as the daemon threads. So daemon threads are the threads which always run in the background to provide some support to the main thread or to my non-daemon thread. So that background executing threads are always considered as the daemon threads. First of all, I hope that this definition is absolutely clear to you regarding the daemon threads. Right. Now let me just open out this file and let's start writing out the program. Okay. Now I'll be writing out and telling you some different ways to access, as I mentioned this thing previously as well. So first of all, I'll be importing out the threading here. Import threading. Now always I just tell this thing in my video, and today as well I'm going to repeat this out, that why we do not import the thread directly. We do not import the thread directly because Python does not support importing the thread directly. It supports importing out the threading module. Before Python 3 was here, before Python 3, we always used to write import thread only. We do not use the threading module anywhere. We simply write out import thread. But as soon as Python 3 came into running, so that actually does not support directly importing out the thread. Okay, so in that case, firstly you need to import out the threading module, and as you are going to import out the threading module, that thread function will automatically be imported, and you can basically use that throughout your program. Okay, this is the whole idea. Second thing that I'll be importing out here is time. Import time. So time is basically one of the modules that I'll be importing. Now by the time you have understood about the time module and you have even got the idea that why I am importing the time module. I am importing it because here basically what we do, like time module I'll be using here for a sleep function. Okay, for using out the sleep, I would be using here the time module. Right, this is what I would be doing out here. Fine. Now, okay, now what I'll be doing is this. I would be defining out a function here. Let's say I wrote out here def. Okay. Now, after this def, basically what I'll be doing is I'll be writing one of my functions, that let's say that is one underscore fun. Okay, this is my function name actually which I have defined. I just taken out some random one here. So def one underscore run. Okay, after this I'll be putting out, okay, let me remove this thing. Fine. Colon. Coming inside this, I'll be putting out one condition, that is while true. While true means, okay, first of all, let me keep this as capital because this is a boolean value, right? While true. Now, what I'll be just doing this true. Why is this true actually used for? So, we have a print statement, right? Okay. Okay. So basically this true function, why is this used for? So as I had applied out the condition while true, so this means now whatever that we're writing inside this while condition, that will surely be executed, right? What we are actually doing the while loop, we actually apply out a condition that let's say I want to print the numbers which are less than 10. So I'll be writing while a less than 10. This is what we actually do till now, right? But here what I haven't given any condition. What I want is that whatever I'm just writing, that should surely be executed. So simply I applied out my condition, that is while true. Fine. Come on to a new line here. Now I'll be using out my print statement. Okay, print, and here goes use of my if string. Now with the if strings you must be familiar with because we have discussed about if strings a lot in my videos, right? Let me repeat that out once again here, that if strings are actually used whenever you just want to, okay, let's say you're having a variable. Okay, you are having a variable and you want that variable's value in between the in between your print statement. Let's say you're writing a statement that this is a and you just put out the language, and inside like between is and language you just want a value or a like character to come which you have stored in some variable. So in that case this if strings are used. I'll be writing out here, then you'll be getting the more clear idea that why is this if string used for. Okay, let me put out the large bracket here first of all after this if string, and inside that let me put out the small bracket. Okay, this curly braces. Okay, inside this I'll be writing that. Okay, T would be small for threading. So threading dot current underscore thread dot name. Let's say this is what I just want to put out inside this if string. Okay, let's say this is the one which I want to put out here. Fine, that is done, right? And now what I would just do here after coming out this of this like large bracket, I'd be simply printing out that okay, I'd write that print me this thing. Okay, or I would just write print me this message. Okay, let's say this is the like print a statement which I actually wanted to come here. Fine. After this, what I can just do here is that I can give out a sleep time as well, right? So I can just write out some sleep time and give it here. So okay, so for giving out the sleep time, this is the reason that's why I have imported out the time module here in this program. That's why I have imported the time module. So this is the reason. Simply I could write here time dot sleep and into the bracket let's say I gave here as 4. Now what does this line actually means? Time is one of my module that has a function and that function is actually sleep. Now what is that function actually used for? So that function is used for let's say I'm having this 4 into the bracket. Now let's say what I just want is that my statements which I am writing here, what a number of times it executes. It should be executing a number of times after 4 seconds. Let's say my first statement executed. After that, for 4 seconds, there must be some gaps, some like pause. Again, after 4 seconds, my second statement will be printed. Then again, I want a 4-second pause. Then after that, again at the third, my third statement should be printed. This is what the sleep function actually does. One more important thing to keep in mind regarding sleep function is that whatever the value you are going to give here, that will be in seconds only, not in minutes, not in hours. That will be in seconds. Now, if you just want to convert that into minute or hour, so that depends on you, that multiplying by 60, that is the other thing. But by default, whatever the value you are going to put inside the sleep function, it will automatically take that in the form of seconds. Fine. This is what I was saying to. Right, now basically, coming out of my function, now basically what I'll be doing is that I would be initiating the thread and I'll be using the daemon set is equal to true. This is what I'll be doing out here. Fine. So let's say I just make it out here as thread. Okay, that is let's say thread underscore daemon, my variable. Okay, thread underscore daemon. Here I'll be using out my threading module. Threading dot. I could use here the thread as well because I am making out a thread here, right? So threading dot thread. Now inside the bracket, what I'll be passing out? Inside the bracket, I would be passing out my function name. So target is equal to, and what I'll be just writing my function name, that is 1 underscore fun. Do not put out that brackets which were there. Okay, do not put out that brackets. Now target is one of the parameters which we have in the thread function. In the thread, we have this parameter which is target. Okay, what is that actually used for? That is actually used for calling out the function which you have made out. So let's say you are making a thread and you just want to call out your function. So in that case, inside the thread, inside after putting out the parentheses, you can simply use the parameter which is target. You can just call out your function, that is 1 underscore fun. Right, that is okay. Put out a comma, and now basically here what I'll be using, I would be using here as name. Okay, name is equal to. Fine. And in this name, what I'll be using thread, let's say thread dash daemon, because I'm making the daemon threads, right? So I could simply pass out this thing here. And I have another parameter here, that is daemon. And now I would set that as true. So what I was actually doing, I was initiating the thread with the daemon set to true, right? I was setting out the daemons to true. So this is how we do this. This is the first method how we just do this thing. We set the daemon true as like this, right? This is the very first method how we just do out this thing. Second method I have I will put out a actually hash here. Okay, and let me put out some multiple comments here. Fine, and let me go inside this. Okay, now here I'd be having my second method. Now, what is my second method for doing that thing out? So I can simply write first of all my variable, that is thread underscore daemon. I can put out a dot here, and I could simply use that daemon parameter which I have used inside this thread. I have used, right? Okay, let me show you where I had done that thing. So yeah, here I had used out this daemon, right? So I can just use that simply here, thread underscore daemon dot daemon. The thread underscore is a variable which I had made out. Okay, this one. So put out dot, and I can simply initialize that as true. This is the second thing that I can just do out here. Fine. After this, I even have a one third method as well, that how can I just do this thing. Let me come down and let me write here third method. Third method, right? Now what is the third method that I can actually use out? So in that I can simply write here thread underscore daemon, the variable in which I have stored out my thread. Okay, put out dot, and here I can use out the function that is set daemon. Okay, set daemon, and into the bracket I can just write here as true. Okay, these are the three methods how I can just set out this to daemon threads. Okay, first one I had already told you that here you can just write out daemon is equal to true inside this one. Second is, yeah, you can just use out thread underscore daemon that you can initialize that as true. And the third method is that you can simply again use thread underscore daemon, and you can just use out the set daemon function, and in the bracket you can pass here as true. Okay, these are the three methods which you can actually use out. Fine. Coming down, I would be starting out my thread here. So that would be thread underscore daemon dot start and the brackets like this. Right? Now what it will do actually, after this I can just simply give out a time dot sleep, and into the bracket I can just give out some value. Let's say that is 5. Okay. Fine here. Now, and at last my main thread ends out at this particular place. If you just want to print out some statement for ending of your main thread, then you can do that thing as well, but I just do not want to do, because we were doing this thing from since a long time in our previous videos, so I'm just not going to add out that thing, right? So now it's the time for running out my program. So here we go. See, it is firstly printed me that thread underscore thread daemon print with this message, and then after 4 seconds it had waited for me, and after 4 seconds it printed me the second line, that is print me this message, and thread underscore daemon. So how come this thread underscore daemon has been added here? So that has been added here with the help of the f strings. See, the value for the f string I have given here in this name, right? And my f string I have used it out here in this print statement. So the value for threading dot current underscore thread dot name was thread dash domain. This was daemon. This is the statement, this is the word which I actually passed out here, and this was the statement which I had printed out, that you all know inside the printer statement, right? So basically this is how you can use out this, and you can just make out the daemon threads, and these are the three methods from which you can set your daemon as true, right? So I hope that you have got a clear and a very fair idea regarding these three things, that how we can set out these three things, right? So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.